Welcome everyone. My name is Russ Nelson and I am the Cancer Man. If you haven't seen my video, The Death of Big Tobacco, please watch that first. This is a follow-up and I'm going to be explaining asbestos, mesothelioma, and what I lovingly like to call hog trough science. So first of all, let's tackle asbestos. What is asbestos? Well, asbestos is a silicate. It's a form of glass. Glass is the normal stuff that we know today, we use every day. That's silicon dioxide. Asbestos, there are many different forms of it, but basically it's silicon combined with other atoms, and it's still a form of glass. We humans have been mining asbestos and using asbestos in the form of talc for literally thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians used it. It's been used by many cultures all over the world. Now, there is no absolute demonstrative record of either malignant mesothelioma or asbestosis in the ancient world. Was asbestosis there? Of course it was. It had to be there. We just don't have any record of it. Now, is malignant mesothelioma in the ancient world? Could have been, but we just might have missed it. We just don't know. But there is no empirical proof of mesothelioma in the ancient world. The reason that asbestos is so dangerous isn't because it's toxic or anything like that. It's because of its basic structure. Now, I've been doing construction for years and years and years, and I've inhaled tons of fiberglass. But if you look at fiberglass, it's a smooth, tubular thing. Now, when you inhale that, it gets into your lungs, but the mucus in your lungs will eventually eject it out of your body. Asbestos, on the other hand, is not smooth. It's jagged. It will get into your lungs and it will hook into your tissues and it will stay there. And it will stay there forever because it's inert. If you were to inhale something like iron filings or steel filings or something like that, they rust. They will break down in your body and your body will eject them and you won't have any problem with it. The problem with this asbestos is it never goes away. Now, everybody knows that asbestos causes malignant mesothelioma. You've been told this your whole life. And there are billions of dollars in lawsuits that say that it is causing cancer. But the fact is, asbestos has never caused cancer. It cannot cause cancer. And here's why. Asbestos is inert. In order for something to cause a cancer, it has to change the DNA in your cells. Asbestos is inert. It has no radiological properties. It has no chemical values. It cannot change the DNA in your cells. Ergo, it cannot cause cancer. This is truly one of the greatest mysteries ever known to modern science. No doctor can tell you how asbestos causes malignant mesothelioma. Now, you might be sitting there saying, well, Russ is just feeding me full of bullshit, He's just trying to make a buck off this. Oh, no. I do believe I have solved the mystery. And I have far more damning evidence. Now, it's a well-known fact that not all the people who have malignant mesothelioma have been exposed to asbestos. Anywhere from 10 to 20% of people who get malignant mesothelioma have never been exposed to asbestos. What this means and what this proves is there has to be some underlying cause, some underlying condition which is causing malignant mesothelioma. Now, it's an absolute fact that asbestos is a major contributing factor to mesothelioma, but it certainly is not the underlying cause. Now you take genetic nicotine poisoning. Now genetic nicotine poisoning causes a defect in your autoimmune system. It's not a biopathogenic reaction. It's your body rejecting your own living cells, your body not recognizing your own living cells and rejecting them from your body. Now, when you inhale a large amount of asbestos over a long period of time, your body starts attacking the cells around it. And then those cells turn rogue and try to save their own lives. They turn rogue, and voila! Then you've got a malignant cancer. Now, I cannot prove this for an absolute fact. It is theory at this time. But genetic nicotine poisoning is the little jigsaw puzzle piece that fits right in that puzzle perfectly. It is more than likely genetic nicotine poisoning, which is the original cause of malignant mesothelioma. And now on to my favorite subject of hog trough science. This is garbage science. This is science which just does not make any sense. Now, a lot of what you think is real science simply isn't. It cannot be demonstrative. It cannot be demonstrated. It simply isn't a foregone conclusion. Now, I'm going to take something like glyphosate because it's fairly new, and you've all seen the ads. You know, if you've been exposed to Roundup and you have this cancer and that cancer and that cancer and that cancer, la 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 la, give us a call. Yeah, we'll get you some money. Well, these are hog trough lawyers, and how they do it is very sneaky. You see, the World Health Organization or some minor little research subject somewhere says it's possible that glyphosate is causing this cancer or that cancer. It's possible. But it's not a foregone conclusion. It is not an absolute scientific standard. So what these lawyers do is they sue in civil court. And in civil court, it is merely by a preponderance of the evidence. That means it's 51% more likely or 49% less likely. In a criminal court, it's 99% likely and 1% unlikely. And scientific standard is 100%. It is an absolute demonstrative fact. So what these lawyers do is they take this little bit of science that says maybe this is, and what they do is they sue in civil court, which has a much, much lower standard and burden of proof. Tricky, huh? So what they do is they threaten these big corporations with all these lawsuits. And what the corporations do, the corporate lawyers at these corporations, what they do is they do a cost analysis. If they go to court on something like this, that means that they could pay out 10 times. Instead of paying out $1 billion over 10 years, they're going to pay out $10 billion over 10 years. So they cut a deal to cut their losses as best they can. I personally would not, but it's cost analysis. Now, my real problem with glyphosate causing all these different cancers is quite simply these cancers predate glyphosate. How can glyphosate cause a cancer that was already here? If this chemical carcinogen is new to the human genome, it would stand to reason that it would be causing something new. All these cancers have already been here. They're not new. Whatever was causing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma was already here glyphosate is very, very, very unlikely to cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma because non-Hodgkin's lymphoma was already here long before anyone was ever exposed to Roundup. Now, I can't say for surezies whether or not glyphosate is causing some form of cancer. That's not what I said. I said it's unlikely. Now, if it were a foregone conclusion, and glyphosate were causing all these different cancers, if it were a provable, demonstrative, scientific fact, the CDC would yank it from the shelves, just like that. Now, don't get me wrong. If you read my book, there's no one on this planet who loves sticking it to the corporate lawyer man more than me. But the problem is, these hog troughers, they all want you to think that they're Aaron Brockoviches out there doing good for society, and the fact of the matter is they really aren't. They're just looking to make money. That's all they really care about, is their money. What they're actually doing is they're clouding the waters, and they're misleading science, and they're misleading the people about science. Now let's take a look at the Master Tobacco Settlement of 2001. A lot of people hailed this as a great victory for anti-tobacco and all that, but that simply just isn't true. And here's why. You see, that was a victory for the hog trough lawyers and the hog trough politicians. The majority of that money went to your government. And if you think that that hurt the tobacco industry, it didn't. No one in the tobacco industry suffered any kind of financial deprivation because of this suit. Now, at the time of the master settlement there, I was still a tobacco user. And the sad fact of life is, just a couple of months after this settlement was finalized, the prices of tobacco just went up. All that happened is the tobacco industry passed that cost onto their consumers. Ergo, you and I are the ones who truly paid for that settlement. Now you take the state, federal, local governments, they're all addicted to tobacco money. And not just the taxes that they put on the tobacco itself, but there's also sales taxes, there's also income taxes, there are also business taxes, property taxes, and so on. The tobacco industry has bought and paid for your government. On a final note, the vast majority of money that is being spent on cancer research isn't being spent on how to stop cancer. It's being spent on how to make money by treating cancer. Now, I want to stop cancer, and I want to stop this horrible, filthy hog trough once and for all.